Matt, obviously, it's been a difficult few weeks with the COVID cases and the injuries and the postponements. How has it been for you since Christmas? The players that have returned to training, how's the training environment looked?
Um, but disjointed. Let's be honest, it's been very disjointed. They had Christmas Day off, they had Boxing Day off, then we came back in on the 27th, and we had, I think it was 8 fit players for the first couple of days. Today we had what we class as 11 fit outfield players, plus a couple of goalkeepers in that mix as well. And there's probably a group of players, 3 or 4 players who are going through the protocol of return to play, which is a 3-day period. Some at different stages in relation to that, to try and find out if they are available again in terms of our forthcoming fixtures. So very disjointed, not ideal preparation, but we're actually looking forward to getting hopefully a game of football in front of us.
Based on what you've said there, I imagine the starting 11, the side on Saturday, is going to look quite different to what we've perhaps seen already this season.
Yeah, I think there'll be some new faces, some new partnerships. Hopefully it will still have the principles of Exeter. It's still have our ethos in terms of the way we play and the way we work, but very disjointed in terms of our preparation and the personnel on that pitch. And it's very much a case of putting out a team who we think can physically cope with the demands of the game to start with. And then if we can get a couple more bodies onto that bench, being able to affect it from the bench as well. So it's an opportunity. It's our next opportunity. It's the first game in a 3-game week. Couldn't get any tougher away to Sutton, and then obviously following up with away to Forest Green. So a couple of tough fixtures, but we've got to go into the game with a freedom in terms of there's no pressure on this group of players, simply due to the not just the disjointed nature of the build-up, but the fact that a few of them haven't been on that pitch for a long period of time.
We know that obviously Alex Hartridge and Pierce Sweeney are expected to be out for a little longer, but has this sort of unexpected break given any of the other players that were injured a chance of contention, like Tim Dieng, for example?
There's only Tim. Tim comes back into the fold, but he's not played since the end of November. So his minutes will be limited to start off with. Nigel's unfortunately unavailable, obviously Sam Nombe as well. So the injured group is still there. We hope Kyle Taylor will be available in some capacity. So straight away that boosts our midfield options. Kyle trained for a little bit today for the first time in a long period. So all of a sudden we're almost adding bodies into certain areas of the pitch, but we're still short in other areas. We know we've recalled Czech Diabate from Truro, and obviously we're going to intend to recall Jordan Dyer back from Bath City, just to get us through the initial next week to 10 days where we're short in certain areas of the pitch. And barring any more positive cases tomorrow, we're looking forward to a game of football. The week didn't start great with 3 more cases, but I think that's part and parcel at the moment, and that's going to be almost common ground for the next few weeks, certainly.
How do you assess Sutton United's season so far? I think they've probably been the surprise package in the league.
Yeah, I mean, people say surprise package to win the conference and to get out of the conference, or the National League as it's now known. You've got to be a good team, and traditionally teams who have success at that level get that bounce at the next level on, and they've adapted to League Two life fantastically well. Anyone who was at our game early on this season will know they gave us such a difficult game and dominated for large periods. Really put us on the back foot with their style of play. But we were able to somehow hold on to them for a long period in that game, and then got 2 relatively late goals. But I think this weekend will be a different game. Their preparation will have been disjointed as well. So it's not just our situation. I'm sure that goes across the board with most football clubs. And sometimes you never quite know what you're going to get from the opposition. And at the moment, we don't quite know what we're going to get from ourselves. So it's going to be a strange one as a manager going into it, because you always want to be able to trust the personnel and the way your team is set up. But there's a few unanswered questions going into this weekend.
And obviously, it's a new ground, our first ever visit there. It'll be a new experience for many of the players, and a sold-out away end as well. So it's sort of an unfamiliar environment for us.
Fantastic. And a new ground to go to, sold out away end, like you just touched upon, and that's what we missed over Christmas. Let's be honest with me, those games getting called off would have been well supported both home and away, and great that we have the start of a new year with a sold out away end. Testament to our away fans and our home fans, because they do support us in numbers, and it always has that feel when we go to London, especially. The amount of fans we take from in and around the Exeter or Devon area, but also some of our fans who are in and around the London borough as well. I'm sure quite a few family members will be there for players as well. And let's be honest, some of those players have been isolating and not seeing their family members over Christmas. So we're looking forward to what will be a good day. Hopefully it's a good game of football. Hopefully it's a fair reflection on where both teams are. I'd advise most fans, or I'd say watch it with an air of caution in terms of what to expect. I don't expect too much free-flowing football from either team because of the groups haven't been training together for large periods of time. I said earlier, I went to watch Swindon-Stevenage last night, and that was a very disjointed game. So we've got to expect a certain level to start with, but the amount of energy and the amount of effort can't be questioned. And like I say, the reason why we're looking forward to it is because we've missed playing football, and hopefully our fans have missed watching us play.
I've certainly missed it as well. It's been a boring few days. Obviously, it's January as well, New Year. You obviously have one eye on the transfer window, but I think you were saying you expect it to be a really difficult transfer window, especially with the COVID situation and clubs wanting to keep their squads silent.
Yeah, early indications suggest that anyone we were having previous conversations with, maybe players in and around first League One squads or Championship squads who were previously available for loan, more than likely that managers are now going to keep their squads as close to full capacity as they possibly can. So it's very much a case of waiting to see what happens in relation to that. Obviously, we've got players lined up who we're speaking to, and managers we're speaking to about the players' availability. But it's constantly changing, and it's constantly changing dependent on everyone's own situation. We wouldn't be really letting any players out on loan at the moment because we're short of players. So I certainly don't expect many managers to do that elsewhere. But we still want to strengthen the squad, and we want to be in a position to do that. And as always, with January comes the rumour mill and the possible opportunity for teams to make bids for our players as well. They want us in and play for a few weeks. So hopefully there'll be some watching some of our players this weekend.
Obviously, we know we've got players in isolation at the moment who are suffering with COVID. When do you expect, should we have no more further cases, when would you expect the full available squad to be out of isolation for the Forest Green game, perhaps the Portsmouth game?
No, probably after that, because it's not just the isolation period. It's the period, the return to play after that. So you've got a long period of time where they're unfortunately cooped up in their own houses or wherever they're staying. And then you've got a few days where they've returned to play. So at the moment, if we have no more positive cases from this point on, it would be well after the Portsmouth game, but it'd be a week after the Portsmouth game where we'd be looking to get all the bodies back. And then it all depends on how they look when they are back. Everyone will be at different stages now, so it's almost a strange situation where people are at different stages and levels of their fitness, and some have reacted in a different manner to that protocol I've been speaking about. Some can barely jog, some can barely breathe during a jog, some worryingly have got heart rate issues during that jogging period. So there's still a little bit of unknown in terms of what sort of state these players come back into. The correlation between how serious the symptoms are and how long they take when they come back into our environment is an obvious one. And we just hope that we don't get any more cases. So anything we've got at the moment, we can almost just manage our way through it from this point on.